You often hear urban legends about McDonald's mascots online, because of how strange and creepy they were. Ronald McDonald being the most notorious one because, well, he's a clown. Can't get much scarier than that. However, in the world of McDonald's, there was another character who people don't talk about as often, but is equally as strange. His name was Mac Tonight, and he starred in late-night McDonald's commercials, usually featuring him playing a piano and floating on a cloud, or a huge Big Mac. He was always playing 50s-style music, inviting people to have dinner at the restaurant. He had a fancy suit, white gloves, and black-rimmed sunglasses. His head was really where he was strange, though. He had a giant crescent moon-shaped head, a motionless white face, and an exaggerated mouth that was always smiling. That's right, no matter where you saw him, whether it be a printed ad or a commercial, he was always smiling. The reason I bring this up is because today I went by a McDonald's, as I often do, since there is one on just about every corner, no matter where you go. Yet the reason I don't go inside the restaurant has nothing to do with its food. It's that damn mascot, and what I experienced back when I was a teenager, visiting Orlando in the 90s. Orlando was the place you wanted to live back then. Disney, Universal Studios, and even Wet n Wild were those places that only existed in brochures for those who lived outside the city. So for a teenager, it was a dream. Naturally, McDonald's was a common excursion for most tourists there. They even have the world's largest one, which I used to go to, like every day. I used to skate down International Drive, where it was located, and indulged in fries and cokes probably more often than I should have. It was kind of like a home away from home. That was before the mysterious deaths started to occur. I remember the first one. It was summer, a very hot night, and my parents didn't like me staying out too late at night. So I decided to head back from McDonald's to the room we were staying. I started skating and noticed some lights on the street, police cars and ambulance lights. I was a teenager, so yeah, I obviously wanted to go see if there was a dead body or something. I looked around a corner and caught a glimpse of a body laying on the ground. It was motionless, covered by a white sheet, and when I focused on the head, my stomach dropped. There was no white left in that part of the sheet, and it was the crimson shade of blood. Immediately, I realized it was my first time seeing an actual dead body. I couldn't stop staring. Rain started pouring down, and yet I couldn't take my eyes off the corpse. Specifically, the bloody space where a face should have existed. The drizzle turned into a summer rain, and the sheet slid down until I could see the shape of a severely damaged head that was caved in like an empty bowl. A police officer yelled from across the street to move along, and I woke up from that nightmarish stupor. At that moment, though, I thought I saw something standing on the roof of the building for a brief second, masked by the rain. The hair on my neck stood on end as I tried to figure out what it was, but when I focused my gaze closer, it was gone. I ran home as fast as I could, my heart racing, my mind digesting what had just happened. I checked the internet for news and couldn't find anything. Crimes were fairly common, but nothing mentioned violence. However, in the following week, another death was reported, even though it didn't have all the details on that one. I still kept going back to the crime scene, just seeing if I would find something, but everything was back to normal. As I stood outside the McDonald's, I wondered if people knew someone had died there horribly just a few days earlier. For me, Big Macs and fries didn't taste the same anymore. Then a few days later, I found a post on a forum connecting the mysterious deaths in the area. They said that the victims all apparently had a pair of black-rimmed sunglasses on them. Something no one they knew recognized. It seemed like someone was messing with the police. They had to be. I mean, the amount of deaths turning up was significant enough for random people to notice at that point. I told my dad about everything that had been occurring, and the weird thing that I had seen standing up on the building that one night. He could tell I was pretty freaked out, so in order to try to make me feel better, he said he would pay for us to go eat there, and we would have a look around the place. Once we got to McDonald's, we grabbed our food and went to take a seat. I wasn't feeling nervous anymore, since my dad was with me, especially since every few minutes he would mention Orlando being a fairly safe city, and that a serial killer would get caught easily there. I cherished the comment, and passively gazed around, taking in the sheer size of the world's largest McDonald's, as I often did when I ate there. But then I looked up, and there it was. Up on a platform on the stairs to the second floor was Mac tonight, behind his glossy piano. I expected for him to be moving and singing his recorded track, but he wasn't. His mouth was agape, as if waiting to exhale. He creeped me out so much I had to look away, but I couldn't stop peeking back at the motionless character. Finally, his crescent moon of a head started moving, very slowly to one side. He turned while opening and closing his mouth. As I was observing his profile, I noticed that his crescent moon head was horribly familiar. It was kind of shaped in the way that the heads of the victims had been bashed in. And when I realized that he had the same glasses as they were given, my blood ran cold. I jumped out of my seat and ran for the door. My dad followed and asked what the hell was wrong with me, as he quickly followed. That night, as I laid in bed, I kept telling myself it wasn't possible. No, it was just irrational. I paced back and forth, trying to figure out what could possibly be going on. Then, as I went to close my window and turn on the air conditioner, I looked outside at the street. There was a light rain over I Drive, and pretty much everyone was indoors. That was when I noticed a figure across the street up on the rooftop of a building. It was a man in black with white gloves, his teeth shining in the night. It was unmistakably Mac tonight, and he knew who I was. I realized at that moment he'd planned for me to be his next victim. I panicked and forced my parents to leave the motel we were in and head straight to the airport as soon as we could. Now that I'm away from there, I still think about him sometimes. But it's been getting better as the days go by. One thing is for sure, though. I will never go into a McDonald's again, and it's definitely not because of the food.